gonna talk about Disney's Tower of Terror 10 Miler 2014. I'm gonna do a recap about the whole weekend and the race. On day 1, we drove from Tampa to Orlando. That's a 1 hour and 45-minute drive. We went straight to the host resort. We stayed in a budget resort or a value resort, one of those two. It's the second to last on the price range. We stayed in the All-Star Movies, and if you're looking for a cheap host resort, I would really recommend the All-Star Resorts. They are cheap, they are good for what they are, and they do the job. So we stayed at the All-Star Movies. It was only $80 per night. I think it was a deal because I was running the race, and you can fit up to 4 people per bedroom, so there's not like a price per person but the room itself. The resort had the dining facilities, it had a Disney store. I love the new concept of having your magic bracelet. It was the key to your room, it was your wallet, it was your fast pass, it was everything, and it was in your wrist, so you didn't have to take your purse anywhere with you because it was all in your wrist. Now, the resort was beautiful. It had all these huge decorations. It was amazing. It had different sections. My favorite one though was the Toy Story section because it had a giant Andy's room in the middle of the section of the resort, and it had a giant Woody, a giant Buzz Lightyear, it had Rex, it had all the characters, and you could take pictures. That was my favorite part, that you could take pictures with the decorations. It also had Herbie, that's where I stayed. It had Donald Duck, it had Fantasia, it had Dalmatians. It was so beautiful. I honestly think the All-Star Movies is my favorite All-Star resort. So after checking in, we went to the Expo. The resorts have the greatest transportation system. You can either go to the theme parks, and that includes the water parks and downtown Disney, and for the race weekends they have a special stop for the run events for the bus to take you to the Expo and to the race. So we went to the Expo, which was held at the ESPN Worldwide Sports. We had to walk from the parking lot to the complexes where the Expo was held. There were 2 complexes. The first one was where you picked up your bib number. It's separated on the bib numbers, so lines are super short, it's super fast. This year they had 11,500 runners for the 10 miler. That complex is also where the speeches go. Usually Jeff Galloway is in there giving a speech either on nutrition or on running. I couldn't stay because I had a pretty packed day, but it looked so good. Also, if your relatives are coming to see you, there's a station in that complex for your relatives to make signs like to cheer you on. So they give you all the supplies, including the Sharpies. You just need to go, and it's totally free. Also, in that complex, there are great photo ops. There's the clock with the Run Disney Mickey, and there's also a Tower 10 Miler background with all the spider webs and all the ghosts and stuff. Also, that's the building where you can sign up for notifications via messages and emails. Now, on the second complex, which is the one on the right when you're entering the Worldwide Sports, is where the Expo is held at. So that's also where you pick up your t-shirt. So you have to go straight to the back and pick up your t-shirt, which you can exchange if you want a different size. There's no extra cost, there's no nothing, you just make another line and you change your size. So in front of the pickup booth, there's the official merchandise area. Now I recommend if you're with somebody that's not gonna look around or buy anything, to go ahead and make a line, because that line is usually pretty long. So on the expo itself, it had a lot of booths. I bought several items. They had one of my favorite stores, which is Raw Threads, but I didn't buy anything because I consider it a little expensive. But it was good to look around. They also had like a special booth where you could see all the medals for next year, including the races from California and the races from Florida. If you get hungry during the expo, there are two joints in the expo, in the complex, which is just your regular fast food like pretzels or hot dogs. But if you wanna get something different though, outside the expo, they have food trucks. Now, these are not your regular food trucks. They had a cupcake food truck. So, if you want a cupcake, go get it at the food truck, because I don't think you'll see that anywhere else. So, go get your cupcake. After the expo, we went to Epcot because I realized that if I wanted to be well rested for the next day, Epcot would be the better choice, because you're just walking around, you're not making lines, you don't have that adrenaline pump inside of you. You can take as much breaks as you want. Also, they had the Wine and Dine Festival, so we could eat a lot of food that you wouldn't find typically on restaurants, and it was really nice. I would recommend you to go to Epcot the day before the race if you want to go to a park, because it's just the easiest part you can go to. On the next day, the race day, we stayed in the hotel, we slept in, we took naps, we toured the resort, we took pictures with all the different characters, and we just chilled. We also ate lunch and dinner on the dining facilities inside the resort. The food was not that good, but we did it because of the convenience of being inside the resort, so we wouldn't have to go out to eat. I would have obviously preferred to eat in downtown Disney or in a theme park or in any restaurant outside, but it's just the convenience of staying calm, relaxed, not walking that much before the race. So, So we hopped on the bus at around 7:45. We had to get on the bus before 8:15 for you to be on the parking lot by 9:15, and the bus get pretty full, so I would recommend you to get early and not to the 8:15 time, because there's a chance you're gonna be left behind. Now, you don't know what 11,500 people are until you get to a parking lot full of them. It's a huge amount, and you have to add all the relatives and the Disney crew. It was so packed, and this is supposed to be one of those small Disney races. It was pretty packed, so don't be surprised if you see a lot of people. Also, for other Disney races, I've heard the year back check-in is really far away from the actual corals, so they probably say it's about 5K between those two. But in this race, the year back check-in was literally like 20 to 30 meters from the corals. It was like a 5-minute walk. Also, they had a long line of porta potties if you need to go to the bathroom before, running 10 miles. So the time came in and the corals started to run. This year they had Coral A to Coral J, and they had time intervals of 3 minutes between each coral. So that means if Coral A goes at 10, Coral B goes at 10:03. So I was in Coral J since this was my first race and I didn't have any time of proof. And I finished, and I ended up starting at 10:30. Now, if you can put a shorter time on your predicted finishing time, do so. That way you can have more time to go take pictures, to go to the porta parties, to walk around, to not get picked up by the pickup car. That's really important. So the course itself was, we started in the parking lot from Hollywood Studios. We ran on the regular street outside of Disney World, not like regular outside the property, but inside the property. We entered the Animal Kingdom parking lot, but went out right away. Then we entered a trail. Now, that trail is famous for being dark, but they've been improving it, and it was good. It wasn't that dark, but it was really narrow, like extremely narrow for that amount of people running through it. Now, if you're running and you have to keep a pace, you'll have to push people around to get through. That's what I had to do. Or else you're gonna get stuck in that trail and it's not gonna be fun. So after the trail, you go into the ESPN Worldwide Sports. If you could hold going to the bathroom for 6 miles, do it, and go to the bathroom in the ESPN complexes, because they have actual bathrooms, not porta potties. However, if you need to go to a porta potty and you see a station and the station is full, try to hold it in until the next one, because it will most likely be emptier than the first one, and that happened to me. I lost a lot of time in the first porta potty station, and then realized that the second one had only like one person on the line waiting for the porta potties. That's crazy. In the ESPN Worldwide Sports, you run through a baseball field, the track and field, and the regular sidewalks through the complex. It's pretty fun. It's really fun. It's really well lighted. It has a lot of people cheering you on, and running through the baseball field was just so fun. So after the ESPN Worldwide Sports or something like that, you enter the Hollywood Studios theme park. Now you enter through the back entrance, through the Motors like action show. I don't know the exact name, but you enter through that part. And don't think that because you enter the park it's gonna be a short way and you're just gonna sprint it, because it was actually a really long distance. Like, I thought it was gonna be like I entered the park and then I crossed the finish line, but it felt like I would never cross the finish line. It was so far. Whenever I thought I would get there, there was another turn. And so don't sprint it, go calmly. When you see the finish line, sprint it, but it's actually, you had to turn to the right and then you saw the finish line. But it was pretty cool running through Hollywood Studios. You run through the Pixar area, you run through the boardwalk area. It was really, really fun. And also there are a lot of photographers on cars. I thought I would not see them, and I was afraid I wouldn't, because I really wanted pictures of me running, because it was my first race, and I thought I would miss them and like look weird on the photos and not smiling. But they were actually pretty easy to spot on. So they are usually on the sides. They're usually 2 or 3 in one spot, so nobody gets missed. So just look at the sides once in a while and you'll see them, and just smile, thumbs up and stuff, and you'll see that your pictures will turn out great. Also, if you're not carrying your phone and you want to get pictures with the characters, there are photographers on those spots, so you can take those with them and then buy them or screenshot them, if you know what I mean. So that was my race recap. It was really good. The weather was amazing. It was the best weather we could have run at. It wasn't hot, it wasn't humid. It was actually really chilly and windy, and it was just perfect, you know. So I'll be running the Walt Disney World Half Marathon next year on January the 10th. If you want to see that recap, you'll have to wait next year. Also, I had a situation. My mom had to go to the hospital. So if you want to hear about how Disney reacted and how the emergency crew worked that out and how fast they were and how they treated us, you can comment down below or message me, and I'll be happy to do another video explaining what went on with Disney, how they managed everything. So give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and hopefully I'll see you in the Walt Disney World Half Marathon next year. Bye!